One thing that puts most people off owning or buying a telescope like this is the big scary word collimation, and I can assure you that it's no harder than adjusting the mirrors in a car. Hello, my name is Jason, welcome to my channel, Small Optics, and in this video we're going to be looking at that big scary word, collimation. And I can assure you there really isn't anything to be afraid of in collimating a telescope like this. You've probably heard a lot of horror stories on the internet about, oh, you have to collimate them, you know, every time you use them, and you know, it's a regular thing, and it's just simply not true. Yes, they do need collimating occasionally, especially if you're going to be taking them out regularly in a car. Say you're going to throw them in a boot of a car, I'm talking about reflector telescopes, and travelling to darker skies or something like that over bumpy roads, then yeah, they're going to probably need a little bit of tweaking. And that's all they generally need, is a tiny bit of tweaking. Most people who have got one of these type of telescopes say that you need one of these things. Now this is a laser collimator, and as far as I'm concerned, these are useless. Alright, now this is my opinion. Alright, there's thousands upon thousands of people that do use these things, but let me just tell you one thing about these things. Laser collimators need collimating. Okay, don't think that you're going to buy a nice new shiny laser collimator and it's going to be all collimated, because more than often they're not. And if you look at this one, I mean, this one doesn't even have the ability to collimate it. Okay, so, and I know this is out, I mean, this is out an absolute mile. So lasers lie. I could do an entire video on why I don't like these things. So for now I'm going to put these to one side. Now the other method, and my preferred method, it's not the one we're going to be using today. Trust me, the one we're going to be doing today is the best method. Again, my opinion, I've used it for years and it's foolproof. And that is a Cheshire eyepiece, or a Cheshire, however you want to pronounce it. I haven't got one of them at hand at the moment, but they work very similar to, well, sorry, they don't work very similar. They look similar to a laser collimator, but they're not laser based. They work purely on a crosshair principle, and I mean, I favour anything that's not laser based when it comes to collimating a telescope. Now, the method I use, and I've used for years, is the good old collimation cap. This is one I've made myself, which you can do also. You don't have to buy these things. They do sometimes come provided with telescopes, not very often, but they do come. And I'll show you exactly how to make this. And the thing is, these can't lie. Okay, if this says it's wrong, it's wrong. Okay, so without further ado, let me just show you how to make one of these things. Now, the only thing you're going to need to make a collimation cap, well, a collimation cap like I've made one here, you don't have to make them like this. There's loads of different ways you can use them. A lot of people, well, they used to use old film canisters. They're getting older one of them these days, you know, good luck. But all I've done here is, this is an old barrel of an eyepiece, yeah, of an old eyepiece I don't use, okay, and this is a dust cover. And that's basically it. That's a collimation cap. And all I've done with mine here is, there's various ways of doing it, like I say, but this is just my preferred method. Is, I don't know if the cameras could pick that up. I've actually got a shiny washer in there. Can you see that? And the way you do that is just put a black piece of paper in there, and then or some tin foil. If you just put tin foil in there, something shiny in there, reflective surface, and then place this into there, but glue this into place. This is going to be a permanent sort of thing that you're going to use to collimate your telescope, because you don't want this cap slipping out. You know what I'm saying? Believe me, I've been there. Got the broken mirror to prove it. But yeah, going back to why I put a little washer in mine, if you can see that, that's all I've done. I've painted this black at the bottom, and then placed a little shiny washer in, because that is it, and it acts more like a target area. I use a star as a centre spot on my mirror, and I just align, I'll get the star in the centre of that washer. But like I say, I'll show you how to use one of these things in a short while. If you've film or whatever in there and you've glued this into place, the only other thing you've got to do is actually make a tiny pinhole in the top bang centre of the collimation cap. Okay, it's important that it is precisely in the centre, and you know there's various ways you can do that. One of the easiest ways is just to draw around it on a piece of paper, cut out the disc of the size there, fold it into quarters, undo it, and you've got a perfect cross in the middle that, you know, X marks the spot if you like. That's one way you can do it. And just put literally a pinhole right the way through the top of the cap. Now if you've done all that, you've got yourself, in my opinion, one of the best collimators you can have. Now, apart from tools to aid us in collimating or help us in collimating the telescope, the other best tool that you can have is your two eyeballs, okay? And they will tell you if something's wrong, alright, just by simply looking in the focuser. And that's exactly what we're going to do now. I'm going to flash a picture up in a minute, okay, of looking directly through the focuser. There's going to be no eyepiece in, alright, and it's going to be as if you're looking directly down your focusing tube, and I'll tell you exactly what you should be seeing.
Now what we're looking for is concentric circles. Now if you look at the first circle, that's the bottom of the focuser tube, okay? The second circle, this is your secondary mirror. It looks like a circle because it's a 45 degree. And finally the big white circle, that's the primary mirror being reflected back onto the secondary mirror. And as you can see, everything's even and concentric. Now also make sure that you can see the three brackets that hold your primary mirror in place, okay? And now if you can see all this and you've got concentric circles, then you're pretty much where you need to be.
If your mirror doesn't look like that, alright, now it could be a combination of two things. It could be a primary mirror, which is your mirror, the big round one at the bottom, or your secondary mirror that needs attention. But you always start by collimating, making sure that your secondary is in position, is in collimation first. Okay. Now, if you go back to those pictures that I showed you earlier, by adjusting these three screws here. Now, your telescope may be slightly different. Okay. First, you want to slightly slacken off this centre locking screw. Okay, and only very, very slightly. Now, this will make you be able to turn the secondary to and fro like that, okay? And also you'll notice that it actually moves a little bit up, down, left and right like that. Now if you think of a kind of like a milking stool that's on three legs, that's exactly how both the primary and the secondary are positioned. So usually just altering two of these screws usually gets you where you need to be. As I explained earlier, just adjusting this secondary so you can see all your mirror brackets and all the circles are totally concentric. That's where you want to start, by getting this one right first. Now once you've got this right, tighten that screw back up, just check it again. You may need to adjust it a little bit again and just tighten it up. Now once you've got this one set, it's very rare that you usually have to play around with this one, okay? It's usually your primary that becomes out of collimation. Now when it comes to adjusting this primary mirror, okay, yours again will look probably look different to this, hopefully better than this. Why Skywatcher has included Phillip head collimation screws, I'll never know. But what you'll find is three of the screws are what's called locking screws, and your other three screws are the adjustment screws. You'll usually find that the locking screws protrude out a little higher than the adjusting screws. And the first thing you want to do is, like I said in the secondary mirror adjustment, you generally only have to adjust 2 of these. Okay, so just for now, just slacken off 2, alright? Well, you can slack them all 3 off, you know, depending on how badly your telescope is out of collimation. And with just slight adjustments of these 3 screws and combined with the collimation cap, which we'll look at in a minute, this is how we're going to adjust our primary mirror now. Now, if you've followed all the instructions so far and you've got your telescope looking something like in the picture, then you're pretty much your secondary is done. And now we need to introduce the collimation cap to collimate up the primary mirror. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this in and hopefully get a camera up to it to show you just how or what's going off when you actually come to use this thing. Okay, a bit of a challenge, filming through a pinhole, but let me just, the camera's now right up to the pinhole of my collimation cap, and I forgot to mention, do this in the daytime, okay, and you want to point your telescope towards a window and get natural daylight shining in. Now you can see why I chose a reflective washer in my collimation cap now. Let me just explain what you're looking at. As you can see, you've got the 2 main cross sections, or the spider that holds the secondary in. Alright, now the big black circle, that's the holder of the secondary mirror. Okay, now we're going to go where we can actually see the collimation cap. You can see my internal washer inside the cap. Now the star that you can see pretty much in the center is my center star in my mirror. Okay, now I've deliberately put mine a little bit out of collimation just to show you what will happen or what it will look like. Now depending on what reflective surface you've used, yours may be a circle, okay, and it may be best to just leave yours as a shiny surface. Just play around with different materials and find which contrasts best to suit your center spot. So what I'm going to do now is I'll just alter the collimation screws at the bottom just to show you, look, how it's going to look. Now if we just turn, make sure you've got the right one, there we go. Okay, bear with me. There we go. Okay, so altering one of the screws, you can see now that the star is pretty much bang in the centre now. Can you see that? And this is why collimation caps are so good, because that can't lie. Okay, if that wasn't in the centre, it means it's out of collimation. It's as simple as that. And this is how easy these things are to use. Now, if you've followed all the instructions this far and you've made sure that your telescope first of all looks like the picture I showed you, and then you've used the collimation cap, that's it, you've cracked it. Your telescope's in collimation. Now, there is one other test you can do. You don't have to make anything at all, and that is what's called a star test. Now, the way you do this is take your telescope outside, obviously, on a nice clear night, and focus your telescope on a nice bright star, Vega or something like that, or whatever's in the sky of that particular month. And you want to defocus the star. Now, what will happen is you'll get a picture something like this, okay? And what you should be seeing is those concentric circles again that we keep talking about, okay? Now, if you're getting a picture something like this, alright, then that means again that your primary mirror needs adjusting. Okay, now you can do this on site just simply with a star test by just altering the primary mirror exactly like I've showed you, just so you're moving that center circle spot, which is actually, I should point out, is your secondary mirror that you can see. That is that dark spot. Okay, and get that in the centre so you've got nice concentric circles, and again, your telescope's in collimation. Well, I really hope this video's taken a bit of that mystery or even fear out of collimation for you. Like I said, there's nothing you can do wrong, really. I mean, that's what they're designed to do. They're designed to be adjusted. And if you just follow the instructions, you know, there's not a lot you can do wrong. The video's been of some help to you. Just don't worry about it, you know, take your time with it and you'll get there. Until the next one, hope to see you soon. Take care, bye.